Welcome to the Tomb of Horrors.
We aren't allowed to meet because of coronavirus. So we thought about some things, but we can't really play the Space Alert combat very well remotely. I looked into like Tabletop Simulator, and I probably could have taken the time to make a mod, but Robert doesn't have a computer, so I kind of whatever. So we decided to pause Space Alert and do a special set of episodes, and we're going to tackle the Tomb of Horrors.
No, really?
Yeah. So I've wanted to run a Tomb of Horrors game for a while with some kind of conceit. Like I've had an idea for a long time of running one where you have to make a new one in that case just because people know stuff, but you play it and each group of adventurers, when they die, they can leave like a brief message their ghost gives to the next group. And so like eventually, like you play it at a convention or something, and like the 20th group through makes it through with all the help from the other ones. Well, I can't really do that here. So what we decided to do was the conceit was a powerful clone spell has been cast on you. Every time you die, a clone of yours appears 5 minutes later in a nearby safe place. But the problem is every time you get cloned, there's a transcription error. And so I roll on a giant table of personality quirks and add a new personality quirk to your character. So everyone just came up with quick, simple characters, and we decided to tackle the Tomb of Horrors. Sort of surprisingly, really, Brian and I are the only ones who seem to know anything about the Tomb of Horrors, so that helps. And I, of course, now have read through the whole module, and I was surprised at how little I knew about it. So
I read through the module, but it was like 25 years ago, and so
the module has changed over the years. Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, I see Robin in the background there.
Yes, our conversation.
One of our other players. Yes, we could actually have her in on the tale telling this time around.
Yeah, she has to go mind the children though.
She hasn't linked her character to the D&D Beyond campaign.
I would also like to note, I love the phrase "mind the children."
Yeah. Her character is on the campaign. It's just listed as unlinked because it's my account. So
forgot about that. Yeah.
Anyway, so we can briefly go over the characters. They aren't as fully fleshed out as they sometimes are, because I told people don't. Well, it's not that they're all going to die. Well, they are, but
well, they are.
But
has anyone survived the first session?
Well, the first
actually.
Yes,
Okay.
The first session we mostly was character generation. We only played for about an hour, and so we only had 2 deaths so far. But
we found the entrance.
The real one?
Well, I don't know
I don't know.
We found several entrances.
Yeah.
I love it.
So yeah, I'm just trying to find the character's name here. I think that's what you were doing too, Brian.
I have them all here. Robin's is Jean-Claude von Gilrup.
Yeah, he's
And damn it,
The monk?
yeah, he's a fighter. He's very he came in and was like, "Hi, I'm sure you've heard of me. I'm Jean-Claude von Gilrup. If you want, I could sign my book for you." So he's a famous adventurer.
Yes.
I also forgot to mention part of the conceit is they're all high level, but the clone spell has sapped their levels, so they started a little bit low. None of them have played 5th edition before, so I wanted to like give them a chance to like not just have to build like a 15th level character. Also, looking through the dungeon, I think it's actually going to be funner at low levels, but you need to be high level to like have a chance at the ending. So whatever, they're slowly going to regain their levels.
Yeah.
And that's just a side effect of the clone spell. So these are all like fairly high level guys. So yeah, Jean-Claude von Gilrup is a famous adventurer. Holmanik von der Vonheim is a gnome. Is he a gnome?
He is,
Or did he change it?
Does it say the race in here?
I just thought he was a gnome because it said gnome, but he never said otherwise. Maybe he's human.
I just sent a link. As each of these characters is mentioned, I sent a link in the group chat.
He's a noble wizard, and his description is that he's better than you. He's noble, so he was born better than you, and even if he wasn't, he's smarter than you, and all that aside, he's the best wizard around in the world. So he's smarter than you, he's more powerful than you, and he's better than you even just because he was born better than you. and he's the one. His family estate is near the rumored area where the Tomb of Horrors is, and so he's devoted his, or at least the most recent part of his life, to making this cloning ritual so that he can tackle the Tomb of Horrors. And so he's hired a bunch of heroes who are adequate to the job, and he's going to come along to make sure they don't screw it up.
It says he's a Vidalcan.
Yes, I'm not sure what that is, or I think he's supposed to be human. I think that might be a mistake on his character sheet, or I'm not sure what Tim was up to with that. That's Tim's character.
Is that like a variant human, perhaps? I haven't tried that before.
That's a partially amphibious.
Yeah, that's definitely a mistake. He's supposed to be human, so I don't know what he's doing about that, but
Well, I don't know. Maybe he's got a secret.
yeah, maybe.
He's got a rubber mask. Pull that off. It's like, it's a frog guy.
There's Otto Wilhelm. That's Brian's character. You can describe
Whoa.
him, I guess.
Yes, Otto Wilhelm. He is a folk hero. He is strong. He is strong in his nobility and is strong in his feats. He's a barbarian, but he's not.
29 strength.
I'll get to that. He's a barbarian, but he's not your typical, wilderness tribal barbarian type. He is based off of a 1900s circus strongman.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got like a maul, which I imagine is a barbell, and he's got like the stripy onesie, and he's bald. He's got the giant handlebar mustache, and goes ha ha, and is very, he's a circus performer. But yes, he is all about inspiring the common man by performing great feats of strength. And he's very encouraging everyone to like find their own strength. They're just as good as that. Now, as for that ridiculous strength score, John said even though we're starting off as like third level characters, the conceit is that we were high level characters. So we got to pick out some magic items that are out of our level range. One legendary, one very rare, one rare, one uncommon. I think that was it. And then as many common things as you want. So I've got a belt of cloud giant strength. That just sets your strength to 29. Yes, in my characteristics or whatever, where's the things that are my flaws and stuff. Yes, my flaw is that people from my hometown know my shameful secret, and I never return there.
Is it that you're actually very weak and you need the belt?
Well, I don't know if I should say anything. Because other party members might be listening in on this. There might be some secrets here.
It's all about the shoes.
Spoilers. Yeah, don't want to give spoilers. But anyway, yes, I'm very strong.
There's Farshim, who is a humanoid crow, basically, and
Acererack Ranger.
Yeah, seems to be very brooding and grumpy and is there for revenge. And that's all he'll say to anyone. He doesn't seem to like anyone in the party, but he's like, it's worth it to spend time with these people in order to get my revenge.
Maybe he used to be Acerack's familiar.
And that's Robert's character. And then there's Theophania, who is the rogue, but she's a furbolg, which is like a small giant.
Yeah.
So the giant
7 feet tall. It's
7 foot tall rogue.
Very sneaky.
Yeah. And not sure. I don't remember why. She's just going there for the riches, because of course the tomb is supposed to be full of riches. And what people know about the tomb varies, but basically most of them know that, or they know that it's rumored to be full of treasure. It's rumored to be the final resting place of a lich named Acererack, which some of them don't even really know what a lich is, except it's some sort of skeleton monster. And those that do, they don't know the whole story of Acererack, and I've tried to tell them not to look it up. And in fact, really only Brian and I know, so that works out well.
My character doesn't know. My character just knows skeletons are very crushable. So, yes.
Yeah, so
feats of strength.
So the first thing they did was they were summoned to the mansion of Pulmonic, and it's like a huge estate that supports the whole town, and it's like super fancy. And they drive up there, and after being kept waiting for a long time, eventually he welcomes them in to do the cloning ritual. We did a lot of character role playing at this point, but the ritual itself, they go down to his laboratory that he's been setting up for years. It's a classic fantasy laboratory, and they do the ritual. He neglected to tell them that they would be level drained by this ritual, but at least Jean-Claude was very excited. He was going around mentioning, it's been years since I've been this weak. So whatever, and they're all feeling invulnerable now, so they headed off to the Tomb of Horrors, which was only a half day's journey away. And I guess they timed it. They must have slept on the way because they wanted to get there first thing in the morning. So they get to the Tomb of Horrors first thing in the morning, and it's basically like a square hill. And one side, the north side, is all gravel, scree gravel. And they begin searching around it. I think the first thing that happened is Farshim flew up over above it and saw that from the sky it looks like a grinning skull. There's these black rocks on the top that are shaped like a skull, and I got the original art from the original adventure, so I displayed the very terrifying, I probably can't get it very fast here, picture of the skull they have, which is like
mercilessly mocking how silly it looks. It looks like a jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, it totally looks like a jack-o'-lantern.
So yeah, we started messing about with the rocks. That was our first thing, was like there's these black rocks in the shape of the eyes and nose and teeth and stuff. So we went to investigate them. And Jean-Claude made the mistake of sitting down on one of the big black eye stones and was immediately disintegrated with no save. Apparently that happens if you touch that one particular rock.
Yeah, there was that involved a critical failure, and there was a bunch of skeletons like half buried in the ground there from like sitting over the centuries or whatever, but he didn't notice them and just went over and touched it and was turned into a skeleton. But
yep.
5 minutes later, a new version of him came back
with new personality quirk.
Yeah, with the first new random personality quirk. And I assure you, this was completely random.
I bet if we look at the random table, it's like half this result. Yeah.
But yeah,
we've kind of figured out what he's. Yes. The thing is, he's not telling us what everyone else. It's only the person that gets the personality quirk knows what they got, and the rest of us try and figure out. But
yeah, everyone just kind of.
Yeah, but I think we pretty quickly figured out what you had done to Jean-Claude.
Yeah, I was trying to find an example, but I don't know. I don't remember any particular ones, but
I've blocked them all from my memory too. It's horrific. Absolutely horrific.
Well, basically, like within the first, I got to find an example. Within the first time, so actually let me just go to, so they actually knew from Holmanek knew that the entrance was supposed to be in the
south or north side of the hill or something like that.
Yeah, that where the gravel is. And so they decided to start digging there because there's just a bunch of gravel, and that's when Polmanik summoned his earth elemental to do the digging, and he's like, I'll just get this thing to do the digging.
And I saw an opportunity. I was like, oh, this thing is a mighty digger. Contest of strength. I have a shovel in my inventory. I went through the equipment list, and I've got like crowbars. I've got 2 sledgehammers so I can dual wield if I need to. I've got block and tackle, portable ram, shovel. A miner's pick. I'm just gonna dismantle this dungeon. Need some strength. So yes, digging contest. The earth elemental started digging at one end of the gravel area, and Otto started digging at the other end of the gravel area to see who could dig more faster.
Yeah. And so we actually had a roll off. Now the earth elemental had a lot of advantages because he has like ability to just walk through the stone, find the entrance, and then dig his way back. But so I gave him
strength.
I gave him advantage and a +5, but then it was a roll off, and Otto won. Otto got to the entrance first, but the
Otto the Digtron
there soon. So they found 2 different entrances, and the one Otto found led to very shortly to a set of double doors, and the one that the earth elemental found much further in, and then also ended in a set of double doors. Now, while they were digging, that was when, as soon as there was a gap, Jean-Claude started saying things like, why did the Scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field. Or, what do sprinters eat before a race? Nothing. They fast. And just anytime there was any kind of gap in the conversation, So
we considered killing Jean-Claude, but he'd only come back.
yeah, with more transcription errors. So
Yeah.
I
yeah,
see
and
why you suspect that all of the transcription errors are one error.
yeah.
Or at the very least, half of them are this thing.
Yes.
But
No,
yeah.
it was completely random.
Yep.
Anyway, they
Jean-Claude's
so
a pun monster.
they first decided to go into the one that the Earth Elemental found on the east side. I don't remember why.
We could tell because the shorter one, the ceiling was covered in cobwebs, and I think we could already tell that the ceiling looked unstable.
Yes.
So we
yeah.
figured there was a trap there, but we couldn't tell what the trap was in the longer corridor. So we figured we'd send the Earth Elemental down the longer corridor.
Which we did, and as soon as it crossed a certain point, there was a click, and a huge stone slab sealed off the Earth Elemental from us. Now, the Earth Elemental can pass through non-magical stone, which is what that slab was made of, so it just came back. And it was able to communicate. It has a very low intelligence, but it could communicate with Pulmonic, and it was able to say that it wasn't able to open the doors. So they did a bunch of investigation. They tried to. We looked up the the strength check on that slab, and I calculated that it was like 300,000 pounds or something. So it's just not. They're not moving that thing.
Not
so
even auto.
No, I calculated I can bench press 873 pounds, and I have a block and tackle that would let me do 4 times that, but still that's
it was a 20 by 10 by 5 stone slab.
Yeah.
So that weighs a lot, even to push. So they caved, and Pulmonic cast Pass Wall, which let them go through the stone slab. And they found the trap mechanism, but it had already been triggered. And then they moved on to the doors, and Otto decides to open the doors after they've been detrapped, which there weren't any traps on them. I forget if he critted, but he rolled really high, and he just rips both the doors off the wall, because it turns out they're fake doors. There's just a fake.
There's a wall on the other.
There's a stone wall there. And
So
you can't get through it because
enough-
it's magical stone. All the walls are magical stone. So
I was strong enough to open a fake door.
Mm.
So I'm satisfied with that.
I know enough about this tomb that I know the entrance.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, a lot of this was like afterwards. I was like, oh yeah, I do remember this, but only after I sort of get prompted, because it's been over 2 decades since I've read this module.
Right. Yeah.
And at the time, I was just sort of skimming through it anyway.
So the next thing was they're like, okay, well, I guess we'll try the other entrance. And so they go in there, and they see that the ceiling is unstable. And so the rogue, Euphania, spends like half an hour slowly checking every single area for traps as she goes along to the end. Doesn't find any traps. Goes to check the door for traps. Critically fails. And I was originally just moving on, and then I realized, wait, Tomb of Horrors, the character's invincible. I'm supposed to be a jerk.
Yeah.
So, of course, she triggered the trap on the door with her critical failure. The ceiling falls in, 29 damage. She has 25 hit points, crushed to death.
Yep.
And yeah, that was when we established that when you die, your body is not destroyed, but you need all your gear back. But so that it's not creepy, your body keeps its underwear. So your underwear gets cloned, and it's you get new underwear, and your old body is just left there in its underwear. So in that case, she was probably mangled beyond recognition anyway. So
yeah, but we figured that the underwear probably gets transcription errors too. So the underwear gets quirkier and quirkier as the adventure progresses.
So there is a trap that you may have to figure out.
Don't give us any spoilers. Don't give spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
No, don't
I know what you're talking
say
about. I've read the whole thing, so I have plans, but.
Okay.
And I don't want to be reminded. I want to enjoy this ridiculousness, this stupid. I want to enjoy this stupid adventure.
So
just, unrecoverable bodies cause problems.
Yeah. So they basically found and it was actually awesome how they were like, yeah, we're gonna have this contest, and I'm like, great, they're gonna find the entrances on each end. And so anyway, they dug some more and found another entrance in the middle.
Oh, we should mention. I don't think we mentioned. I tried opening the doors, and they were another pair of fake doors.
Yes, the doors were fake.
Yeah,
in that
I ripped them off. I ripped
too.
those off the wall too.
And so they found this entrance that has all these that has like a winding path of tiles on it, and has like stuff the walls are plaster, and they have like pictures of various animal humanoids, and whatnot on it, which I can probably describe more in detail better next time because that's basically where we stopped. So they didn't really like look at them in any great detail, but they've now found what could be the real entrance. So far they've almost gotten into the Tomb of Horrors, and only 2 characters have died so far. So,
Third time is assuredly the charm.
I'm
This
guessing
will be the
at
real
least
entrance.
one person dies in this hallway.
Oh, probably. It's a hallway. It's gonna be deadly.
anyway, I've
Probably
actually
two. Probably at least 2 in this first one.
Well, we'll see.